How are you doing? We hope you're okay. We hope you're enjoying the Fortnight of Faith so far. If you don't know who we are, this is Ben and I'm Nick. We are two of the associate pastors at King's Church based in Bolton, and we are so excited about what this Fortnight of Faith is going to bring. We are believing for breakthrough, we're believing for some massive answers to prayer, and we can't wait to see what comes out of what you're praying for. We just want to encourage you, so we've got a little thought that we've been thinking about to share with you today, and we hope that it's going to really help you in this Fortnight of Faith.
I want to start off by telling you a saying. He isn't safe, but he's good. I'm part of many Facebook groups, and a particular Facebook group a couple of weeks ago popped up on my phone as I was scrolling through, and it's designers all around the world that work for churches, and they share designs on to get inspiration or ask for advice how to do something better. And one particular graphic came up, which you'll see on the screen right now, of a lion, and it had this glitch effect, and it looked awesome. It looked bold and fierce, and I loved it. And yet it had this saying, he isn't safe, but he's good. I thought, I don't know if I like that, and I was hesitating whether to like it or not. I thought, he isn't safe. Of course he's safe. We know God to be our refuge and our defence and our fortress, and my God's a safe God, and I find my safety in him. So I couldn't understand what everyone was raving about on this group, liking it, saying that's awesome, whether they were liking the design, but something didn't sit right with me. So I decided to seek the wise old counsel himself, Mr. Google. And I typed it in, he isn't safe, but he's God, and tried to find out what people were raving about. And what I found was fantastic. You see, it comes from the Chronicles of Narnia. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that film, or the book even, where it came from, but the particular story of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I've got the script here. I just want to quickly read to you guys, and it's a conversation between Susan and Lucy, where they're asking Mr. and Mrs. Beaver to tell them about Aslan. Tell us about Aslan. Who is he? Is he a man? And Mr. Beaver replies with this: Aslan, a man? Certainly not. I tell you, he's the king of the woods and the son of the great emperor beyond the sea. Don't you know who is the king of the beasts? Aslan is a lion, the great lion. Ooh, said Susan. I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. That you will, dearie, and make no mistake, said Mrs. Beaver. If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're braver than most, or else just silly. Then he isn't safe, said Lucy. Safe, said Mr. Beaver. Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Who said anything about being safe? And this one I want you to grab. Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you.
Yeah, often we can get the wrong picture of Jesus. Whenever you see pictures of him, you see these pictures of him where everything is perfect, there's not a hair out of place. It must be using not you. It must be using L'Oreal or something, because his hair's perfect. His teeth are so white. He must have been using that black charcoal toothpaste or something, because his teeth are gleaming. He's got these robes on that are made out of some sort of magical anti-dust, anti-wrinkle type fabric, because nothing's sticking to him, even though he's walking around Israel, and all those sorts of things. And we can easily get caught up in that picture and think that he'll never get irritated, he never upsets anybody, he won't offend anybody, not Jesus. But we know that's not true. Just look in your Bible, there's many times when you see he gets angry or upset or offends someone. I think about this verse in Luke 9:23, where it says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. So how could we ever think that someone who said that is going to lead us into safety?
What does that mean in today's context? Well, following Jesus and taking up your cross may mean a few things, and I've just chosen 5 here. That he will challenge you to look forward and not back. Your past is your past. Why are you looking back? You can't change that, but you can change your future. You're going to upset a few people. What we're carrying is the truth. It's the truth of the gospel. And sometimes we're scared of offending people when we need to say what needs to be said, but we need to learn to do just that. We need to bring the truth into the dark and bring the incredible light. He'll bring out changes in you. It reminds me of the passage in Luke about Zacchaeus. And it says in particular, verse 8, Zacchaeus said to the Lord, behold, Lord, half of my goods I give to the poor. You see, this was a man that didn't give to the poor, but an encounter with Jesus Christ changed his life forever. Another one here, you're going to have to stop messing around, literally. You know, that means stop doing those things that you know you shouldn't be doing. For those that are single, it may mean that your dating life actually seems quite boring to others. It doesn't sound quite safe to the outside world, but you know you need to stop doing certain things. And the last one here I've put, you're going to have to lay some things aside. You know, in Mark 1, when Jesus called the disciples, he literally said 2 words, follow me. And they laid their nets immediately to one side and followed him. My question to you today is, what things do you need to lay aside that don't seem right to your friends and your family that don't know Jesus, but you know what, this may look unsafe, but I know this is the right thing to do.
So, you know, we often face trials, don't we? The Christian life's not just plain sailing along a horizontal line. It's ups and downs all the time. And there's many times where we can feel like at the deepest depths. And, you know, following Jesus isn't always a pretty process.
No.
And it's not always easy. And it's not always a safe thing. But it is always the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And no matter what, the comfort that you can take away from it is that God is good.
Yes, He
In
is.
the Bible, there is so much that tells us about how great God is, how good our God is. And, you know, in Romans 8:28, it says, He makes all things work together for the good of those who love Him. And I really believe that even though sometimes taking a step of faith can be scary, it is the best thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do. And God is good, and He will make it work together for the good of those that love Him. You know, in this fortnight of faith, I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know if that looks like your faith step is talking to someone at work about Jesus, or mentioning it to that family member that you've never spoken about Jesus before, or just doing something courageous. But can we encourage you to do those courageous things?
Yeah.
Step out in faith. Let's not let this fortnight pass us by without taking those steps out of our comfort zone and into our faith zone. And let's remember that, God is not safe. Following Him is not a safe thing to do, but He's a good God, and it's a good thing to do to follow Him and take up our cross daily.
Yeah, have an incredible 2 weeks of the Fortnight of Faith. Do something courageous, like Nick says. Do something you've never done before. Let's not play it safe. Let's step forward in faith and be the people that God has designed us and called us to be. Have a great 2 weeks, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.